بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم.
The name Putrajaya can be literally translated as the success of a prince. Named after the first Malaysian Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra, the planned city is the federal administrative capital of Malaysia. The massive 4,931 hectares is enclaved by the Selangor state and has received much praise for its environmentally friendly concept. The largest portion of the land, a whopping 37%, is dedicated to green and open space. Putrajaya is divided into 20 precincts, arranged to surround the core employment area. Previously named Perang Besar, this land was once an oil and rubber plantation estate, home to an entire ecological system, including a group of indigenous people. Although the cut-and-paste method has been minimized and Putrajaya has adopted a green city concept, the project destroyed the land in order to build. According to the Organization for the Economic Cooperation and Development of 1996, more than 50% of the natural wetland habitats were reported as lost or degraded due to saltwater intrusion, canal dredging, and urbanization during the past century. In a small piece of land less than 5 kilometers outside of Putrajaya resides most of the displaced indigenous people, many without water or electricity. There were a total of 6 sites that were proposed, including Sepang Coast, North Port Dickson, Northwest Rawang, Bukit Tinggi, and Kinabalu Plains. However, Perang Besar was ultimately chosen for its proximity to both Kuala Lumpur and Kuala Lumpur International Airport. 5 concepts were presented to the cabinet, who ultimately chose the Intelligent Garden City concept, which prioritizes green and open spaces, as well as public spaces. In February of 1995, the cabinet approved the master plan for the Putrajaya project. Later in August, Tun Dr. Mahathir officially launched the project to the public. However, the master plan underwent a review in April of 1996. 6 months later, in October, construction of the Putrajaya project began. Precinct 3 is part of the core employment district, mostly populated by governmental and commercial buildings. As a result, most of the residential and educational buildings are separated from the core precincts and situated in the outer precincts, creating a clear and unbalanced division in land use. There are several uniquely designed landmarks located in Putrajaya, including the Seri Sarjana Bridge, the Iron Mosque, Monument Allah Baru, the Palace of Justice, Perdanan Putrajaya, Putra Mosque, and the Seri Wawasan Bridge. These landmarks attract tourists to visit Putrajaya, as well as help orientate both tourists and locals. Some of the places where people tend to gather and meet include McDonald's, Umay Cafe, Cafe Ali Maju, Hero Market, the Iron Mosque, Post Laju, Maybank Putrajaya, and Pasar Tani. The figure ground diagram shows that our site is mostly surrounded by open spaces, allowing for unobstructed views to and from the site. Situated by the lake, the site is next to the Iron Mosque. There is an elevated platform connecting the Perbatanan Putrajaya to the Iron Mosque. The proposed structure of 2,000 square meters would be separated into 3 stories to allow users in the surrounding buildings to share the same beautiful view of the Putrajaya lake. The utilization of only a fraction of the land allows space for a green park for recreational activities or related programs. Putrajaya is comprised of mostly people of Malay ethnicity, with a significantly smaller number of people of Chinese and Indian ethnicity. In addition, there are also a few non-locals who have found a home in Putrajaya. As Putrajaya is a fairly young city, so are its residents. Majority of the residents are under 65, and gender is equally distributed. With broad streets and plentiful car parks, driving in Putrajaya is a stress-free experience. Pedestrians were clearly a priority in the planning of the circulation. Due to the segregated land use planning, it is too far for the residents of Putrajaya to walk, forcing them to take vehicular transportation to the site. To travel to one of the nodes, students need to walk no more than 5 minutes. And despite having to travel short distances, office workers still tend to prefer to drive. According to many locals, this is because the sidewalks provide insufficient shade, both natural and man-made. The site is easily accessible by walking, driving, or by bus. Park and Ride program, although underutilized, provides easy accessibility for people from outside Putrajaya to make their way into the city. The buses come around to all the stops, including the site, every 30 minutes on non-peak hours and every 15 minutes on peak hours. Cycling is a popular activity for both locals and visitors, and many cycle by the site. Putrajaya is well equipped with cycling tracks and bicycle parking. Bicycles can be rented at Taman Wetlands, Putrajaya Botanical Gardens, Putrajaya Challenge Park, and Putrajaya Central Station. The most traveled cycling route is 11 kilometers long and covers many of Putrajaya's famous landmarks. From Mondays to Thursdays, there is constant activity, mostly centered around work. However, on Fridays, there is significantly more human activity around the site due to neighboring mosque prayers from 12 to 2. Although there is less activity over the weekend, most of it revolves around leisure. Putrajaya hosts several events, including the Hot Air Balloon Festival, Formula E Grand Prix, and other various concerts and festivals. All buildings must comply with guidelines that are set by the Putrajaya Cooperation. The setback excludes the slope within the site's boundaries. According to the guidelines, the buildable area is divided into two, creating a pathway through the site. Following its intelligent garden city concept, the site is surrounded by many trees and plants. Although there are a variety of different trees present on site, the Andira enormis provides the most shade due to its large size. The site is currently situated on a plinth, and rainwater is drained into the lake. There is a cruise which takes users around the Putrajaya lake and covers many landmarks along the way. There are several pickup and drop-off points along the lakeside, one of them a mere 2-minute walk away from the site. Indigenous people were the first inhabitants of the land, many of them living along the lakeside where the site is located. When Prong Basar was privatized, it developed into an oil palm plantation, reaping revenue through monoculture. From 1993 onwards, the land was cleared to construct an idealistic city, which we now call Putrajaya. While the Putrajaya Cooperation worked hard to replenish many of the natural flora, the fauna received much less attention, showing a significant diminishing of animal population. However, of the original inhabitants, the indigenous people experienced the greatest drop in population. For many years, the voice of the indigenous people was silenced as their homes were taken from them and promises of a better life are still left empty.
Elektrik ada tak dekat kampung?
Tak ada.
Tak ada?
Tak ada.
Habis lampu macam mana?
Guna kereta lah.
The wetlands are home to only 4 main flora species, while the lake contains 6. So why do the wetlands seem more vibrant? On one hand, the wetlands possess a much more complete and healthier ecosystem, and on the other hand, the rest of Putrajaya has a disrupted ecosystem controlled externally by the Putrajaya Cooperation. The 400 hectares Putrajaya Lake was created by inundating the valleys of Sungai Chua and Sungai Bisa. The creation of the lake had many detrimental effects, including the flooding of the forest, resulting in excess methane, the displacement of the indigenous population, obstruction of aquatic life migration, deprivation of alluvium downstream, and the creation of a mosquito breeding ground.
Safety okey sebab CCTV sini banyak CCTV.
Banyak
Kalau,
CCTV lah.
banyak. Kalau kita ada buat macam vandalism ke apa ke CCTV tu boleh kat mana-mana pun ada CCTV.
Kawalan CCTV lah.
Kawalan CCTV.
But for Malaysians culture, only the Muslim people do that. Come visiting in the night time, evening time, even the for Indian community seldom. They don't come.
Seldom.
Yeah.
Oh, what would make you go out to take a walk or a jog?
If we are nearby here, we take a walk. We are far. It's a 1.5 hours driving back here, and we will stuck in the jam. Unless we stay in Sepang area, Dingle area is easy.
Dengkir lah.
It's nearest.
This area is one place for healthy living, besides all these government buildings, and there's a stretch between Putrajaya and KL. There's a lot of land in between that we can develop. And surely, because Malaysia is one country that doesn't have a second city, so it will address that kind of population problem.
Okay, so right now, what do you not like about Putrajaya?
The new development, I see a lot of cranes and all. They begin to smack into some of the buildings here and there. I'm not sure it's going according to plan like how it was before. And there's some kind of worries that a lot of things will be taken away, like that park down there, for example. I don't know how it came about, but it needs to be something more tasteful, because the whole place has been tastefully designed. Then you have something, a bit kitsch looking came about. So that's my problem. It's working now compared to like about 10 years ago, where it was like a ghost town that you see more workers on the road than people actually functioning, working, living here. So at least it's being made use of, and there's a very positive sign. But of course, it could be made use a bit more, because still many of the parks, you see workers, you don't see people.
As we can see, Putrajaya is how should I say? It's quite isolated, or we call it as a suburb. Right. You can see that there's quite difference in terms of traffic. Number one, traffic, and then number two, the architecture of the course. You can see that the buildings here are all built out with aesthetics value. As you can see, compared to Kuala Lumpur, I mean, it's very packed over there. So you can see the cars and motors, all running smoothly. But you can access.
The pedestrian promenade proves as a strength, as it facilitates human activities such as jogging and cycling. One of the major weaknesses on site is the lack of a complete ecosystem and minimal biodiversity. Due to the city's building guidelines, the site has the opportunity to design a truly sustainable and environmentally friendly building. Unfortunately, the largest threat to the proposed structure and program would be the homogeneous social demography. Designed by Grant Associates, the Gardens by the Bay project falls in line with Singapore's City in a Garden vision. The architects combine nature, technology, and environmental management to develop a rich host of intelligent environmental infrastructure that allows plants, some of which are native to Singapore, to flourish. It has succeeded to provide both leisure and education for its users. It is composed of 2 cooled conservatories, the Flower Dome and the Cloud Forest. These 2 giant biomes provide an all-weather environmental entertainment space. Grant Associates also designed a vertical garden composed of 18 super trees between 25 to 50 meters in height, which acts as a vertical display of tropical flowering climbers, epiphytes, and ferns. Especially since a glass allows optimal light for plant life but reduces solar heat gain significantly. Ground cooling by chilled water pipes cast within the floor slabs directly targets users, reducing the volume of air needed to be cooled. Liquid desiccant, a drying agent, is mixed into the cooling process for greater efficiency. Electricity is generated on-site to cool the conservatories, while waste heat is captured in the process to regenerate the liquid desiccant. The cogeneration of energy is achieved by a combined heat power system turbine, which reduces dependency on the electrical grid. The Ark was conceived by Garris architects in line with the belief that humans intrinsically have the need to create a connection to the surrounding landscape. It provides a shelter for community activities, a space for regular living amenities, social and recreational activities, and communal and sports events. Some of the programs include a gardening for community gardening, a multi-purpose community space for social interaction, a rooftop green space for cycling and jogging, an activity space for sporting activities, and an indoor space as a gathering and meeting space. Based on the site analysis, the proposed structure should strive to solve many issues and, in addition, aim to support Putrajaya's theme of creating a garden city as a way of reducing environmental impact caused during construction, encourage and stimulate Putrajaya's cultural growth towards a more balanced ethnic demography, and capitalize on existing and absent activities in Putrajaya for financial stability. The theme proposed programs include research on the biodiversity in the area, assessment of endangered species, conservation of wildlife habitats, raising awareness, and helping Indigenous people to assimilate. In response to the issues, the proposed programs would include a seed bank, a nature appreciation center, an environmental museum, an Orang Asli engagement center, an ecology research center, and an agriculture workshop. An analysis of the site suggests building under the ground to preserve as much of the landscape as possible. By creating an open recreational space facing the lake, users can capitalize on the beautiful view. Having space for both outdoor activities on the roof and indoor activities underground can facilitate a myriad of different recreational and sporting activities. A sloped entrance from the sidewalk provides a smooth flow from street level to below ground level. Although there are no water lilies to be found in the Putrajaya lake, they grow in abundance in the wetlands where no human water activities would oppose their growth. However, it is possible that with the right maintenance, they might flourish in harmony with the cruises, kayaking, and other water activities. Similarly, reeds not found in the Putrajaya lake but that populate the wetlands can enhance the experience for those partaking in water activities as well as those viewing the lake. In conclusion, the aim of this proposal is to create a building which embodies Putrajaya's theme of sustainability.
Just do it.